we jump into this episode, I want you guys to put your thinking caps on.
Ready?
Do you have them on? Your thinking caps. You guys got them on? Alright, good. So now let's get right into it. So as from last week, I'm showing you guys the metabolic conversion graph that I covered from fats, carbs to amino acids, so proteins. Today we're very much just going to focus on carbs and the Krebs cycle throughout this episode. Now, what is Krebs cycle? How is it used? What's the point of it? Why do we need to know it? Basically, it's to produce energy. That's its function. It happens everywhere around your body in each mitochondria. Again, depending how big you are, you will have more mitochondria and etc., etc. Now, as I explained before, glucose will turn into pyruvate, which is a 3-carbon sugar. That will enter the mitochondria. Once it enters the mitochondria, it will either go to oxaloacetate or turn into acetyl-CoA. Once this occurs, the acetyl-CoA that is now in the mitochondria and the oxaloacetate that is part of Krebs cycle, these two will form or join together with the help of an enzyme that will just speed up the reaction called citrate synthase. This will produce citrate, which is also another word for Krebs cycle called the citrate cycle. Now this will go in a circle, and every time you use one molecule of, let's say, glucose, you will produce, I believe, 11 or 12 ATPs from the form of NAD and FAD. Now, NAD and FAD allow you to transport hydrogen atoms to the electron transport chain to be oxidized to produce ATP. Now, for all your ketogenic people out there, if you don't have glucose, you can't produce pyruvate that can turn into oxaloacetate, less ATP, less energy. Now, for training, pre, during, and post, what should you have? How much should you have? Starting off with pre, I would suggest having your carbs around 60 to 90 minutes before your workout. This will really optimize on your blood sugars being leveled out and not having your body in a hypoglycemic level. I found personally this is what I find the best. Studies have shown this is the best, but again, it differs from individual to individual, so see what works for you. So along with pre, I'm just going to show you guys how carbs actually gets depleted. So typically, if you are carb loaded, you will last around an hour and a half to 2 hours of training. After that, you will need a supplement if you would like to perform long endurance. So let's say a marathon run. And typically around an hour and a half to 2 hours is where you would want to have that glucose or carb-filled drink. Now, to make sure that you don't get super dehydrated, you want that drink to be a fluid type of drink to consist of 5 to 8% of saturation. 25% is too much and you will get dehydrated. So for all of you guys that like to drink Gatorade, I am not here to bash Gatorade as a company. I just suggest taking their drink because it is good, mixing it with water, and then that should decrease the saturation of that drink. Now, during your workouts, I would suggest having something that's not well saturated, like I explained before with the Gatorade. Something that is not very high in calories, again, that will decrease gastric emptying. Something that is not low in glycemic level, and again, a fluid is always better than actual food. Now, for factors dependent on if you are competing, that's a big factor that will depend on how much you will have and what type of carb you will have. 2, the timing that you're going to consume that specific carb. And then lastly, what I think is important is the type. So that all ties in with if you're competing or not. So if you are competing, when you do replenish your carb stores, they do take 20 to 24 hours, sometimes even more. Again, it always depends on the person. This is very long, especially if, like I said, you are competing. So having a higher glycemic index type of food, white potato, white rice, these are just little examples. There are far other ones you guys can consume. Having them right after your competition. So if you were to compete on Saturday and you're competing on Sunday as well, having that right after you're done is very important to maximize your replenishment of carb stores so that you are good and ready for the next day. And again, I would suggest in the beginning, especially if you just finished the race, to have a fluid. Again, your intensity, heart rate level, and blood flow doesn't just drop that quickly after exercise. It does take a while. So I suggest having a fluid first, and then you could maximize with a meal later on after you've actually cooled down. Now, after training, everything will be stored as glycogen. This is just a little picture diagram that I drew just so you guys can see how that happens. Now, the last thing that I think is really funny, and I think you guys should know, fructose, which is very high in fruits, will actually be very bad for you if you overconsume them. So if you guys ever heard of runner's diarrhea, so like I said, it's runner's diarrhea. So usually athletes do like to consume a lot of fruits before the tournament because they've been told that it's very good for you. But again, fructose cannot really be digested in the intestines. And since it's very highly saturated, let's say, or the molecules are very big, they will extract water from the interstitial fluid. That will pull water into your small intestines, which will give you diarrhea. Where comes the phrase runner's diarrhea is the high fructose content. Just basically give you the shits. You will look like this if you're about to run, and you will have this happening to you. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. This week, I believe I am going snowboarding, and I'm gonna have a whole meal plan of how I eat when I'm traveling with my friends and snowboarding, and you guys are gonna see all of that. And I'm also gonna release the third part of this series, which is fat metabolism. That'll be out by this week. Apologies for this video, it didn't come out as soon. My iMovie wasn't working that well. I don't know what the hell was going on, but your boy hella worked some magic. I don't know what I did. It's working now. So that's about it. I'll catch you guys later. Peace. Have a great week. I'm out. Oh yeah, before I leave, if you guys have any question, put them in the comments below. I'm making Q&A number 2 coming up soon, so send in your questions so they can be on the next episode. Let me know. I'll answer them at the best of my capabilities. I'm watching Spider-Man. So let me know, guys. That's about it. Oh yeah, click the bell so you know when the videos come out so you guys can watch them. Follow me on Snapchat. Follow me on Instagram. I post daily there with workouts, tips, and everything. As well, don't forget, email me right here. Here. Email me right here for workouts and meal plans all set up just for you specifically. It's not a workout that everyone can do. I'm going to make it just for you guys. Get at me. We out.
About to send this bitch up. About to send this bitch up. Hey.
That's it! What up, guys? Screw this. Alright. Do I not know how to cover the screen?